Hey there, welcome to the first part of this series, the remembering section of this program. I love that this is actually the first part because for me, not knowing that everything that you're about to feel, to go through, experience, is something that is not beyond you. It's not something separate to you. It's not something you're accessing. It's actually something in which you already are. Now, I feel like that's so important to point out because for years along my journey, I was doing a lot of work that was like putting it out to the universe or accessing some type of power or force, But then what I realized is that in doing that, I'm telling myself I am not already that. That even makes sense. If you're telling yourself that you need to access something, what you're saying is that you're not already that which you're accessing. So for me, it's important to really embody everything that I'm about to share with you. So to embody it, you must realize it is you. It's not something separate to you. Now, I will go more into this in oneness later on in the program, but for now, I just want you to remember what is real. What is real for you? And what I mean by that is a lot of our experience is taken up by the illusion of what's not real. Now, the illusion of what's not real, right, is anything that that you are not experiencing here and now. Because that even makes sense. Like, there is nothing else but this moment. But a lot of us are bringing with us our story, our past, our experiences of feeling not enough, not worthy, unloved, all these experiences that we've had of the past that are no longer happening. But some of us are living with that pain, living with that discomfort as though it is happening right now. When it's not, it's finished, it's actually no longer true. But we bring with us beliefs and patterns because of those beliefs and our judgments about what happened into this moment, which rob us of being so open to life and the possibilities that are here and now when you remember who you truly are. So this remembering process is to actually slow down. It's actually to get out of the mindset, the thoughts that are taking you into time. Like Eckhart Tolle would talk about time as being the insanity of the mind because time isn't real, but we live as though it is. We live with it. We're always looking at time. We're always referencing time. And look, that's part of the human experience. But when we put so much power into it that we believe that there is another moment in time that is separate to this moment, we start to bring limitation and we forget who we are. We now start to believe in the illusion of who we think we are, our story. But the story isn't real. Like, how can the story of what happened moments ago still be real? It's not. There's this moment. Prove to me that what happened or what's going to happen is real and is happening. We can always have a memory about it. We can refer to it. We can talk about history. There are things that reference in different ways what has happened and sometimes what is going to happen, but is it real? How can you quantify that as being real? You see, for me, the only thing I can quantify as being real is this moment, what I can touch, feel, see, hear, taste, because it's real. I'm using my 5 human senses. There's a 6th sense as well, which we'll talk about. But that 6th sense only is activated and accessed when you're using all the other human senses to experience yourself as being here and now in this moment. And in that, you start to remember who you are. You start to feel into the beingness of this moment. And that's why I call this remembering. Because it's in remembering and learning how to be here and now, to sense your way through life, that you start to access a way of being that is not about doing, it's not about time, it's not about what has happened or what is going to happen. It's about being here and now and so open to this moment that you start to feel the vast power of who you are. You start to feel the peace. You start to feel the love that was always there. Hence, you are remembering. When you are present, you will feel this. If you don't believe me, think about a moment in time. Think about an experience you've had. Maybe you're watching a sunset or a sunrise, or you're with people you love, you're in nature somewhere, and all of a sudden you start to feel a sense of peace. All of a sudden you feel a sense of love, deep connection. And in that moment, it's like you wouldn't want for anything to change. You don't need for anything. You feel fulfilled, but for no reason. You see, that's where you are accessing who you are. In that moment, you are truly being yourself. You're being the infinite version of yourself in that moment, or a infinite version, because you are being here and now without thought. It's then when thoughts come and we start to identify ourselves through time and we buy into our identity of who we believe ourselves to be. And then we forget who we are. You know, we go into, well, this is what happened to me and this is my life and this is why things are the way they are. And this is, it just goes on and on and on. And then that's how we create a reality. So if that's what you believe to be real, then so be it. That's what's real. But imagine if you're able to remember who you are, and who you are is actually about not thinking. It's about being here. Like you may have heard, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So a spiritual being, if it was showing up here and now in the moment, isn't about your story. It isn't about what has happened or not. That's the human experience. Because why? That's the human's thoughts, its identity. You know, that's how you identify who you think you are. What I'm opening you up to in remembering who you are, not what you are according to your thoughts and experience. What I'm opening you up to here and suggesting is that when you find yourself deeply in the moment and your identity is no longer influencing that moment and you're not identifying through what you know of yourself, do you not sense the possibilities now of who you are, the space, the sense of anything is possible, that you are not broken, no matter what has happened to you? And we'll talk more about that. And that's why I talk, you know, I share this series as Get Unfucked. The reason why a lot of us experience ourselves as being fucked or thinking we're fucked up is we are identifying ourselves through our past traumas and experiences where we felt lack, insecurity, not enough, unworthiness, and thinking that's what's real. So that then robs us of being in this moment, right? And because we're identifying through that, we bring that pain, we bring that trauma, we bring that suffering, and then it influences what we think is possible. You know, because it's influencing what we think is possible, it then creates even stories in your reality to reinforce that belief, reinforce that judgment. So with what I'm sharing here, this is a doorway into a space and a place where you can be anything you want to be, regardless of what you have or haven't done. You can experience feeling love regardless of what you have or haven't done. So what I'm opening you to is remembering a way of being, remembering that who you are is only ever experienced here and now in this moment. So what I'm going to get you to do, as I said in the intro, did I say this? Can't remember now, but I'm going to give you some exercises throughout this process, you know, throughout these series. There's going to be little exercises, nothing overwhelming, but some of them will require a little bit of discipline and commitment. This one that I'm going to give you is that I want you to start every day whilst you're doing this program, you know, and hopefully you do this, you know, over 12 days at least. Some of you, if you want to do it over weeks, up to you. But as a minimum, I would just do one part of this program. You know, listen to this today, take it away, what I've just shared with you, and start to ponder on it or question, you know, for yourself, is that true? You know, when I am present, or can I remember those moments of being and then remembering and feeling a way of being? Is that true for me? You know, I want you to then take that and just think about it a little bit. Don't just go to the next part of this program and race through it. Go away and think about it. And whilst you're doing that, there's a practice that I want you to do. Now, starting today, go find 10 minutes of standing with no shoes on, right, on the grass, outside somewhere, right? See if you can find grass. If you can't and you're in the city or something like that and you've just got a balcony, go outside, take your shoes off, stand on the balcony. But if you can find some grass, some nature, just stand in the grass and I just want you to breathe. Bring your attention to your breath. Notice the breath coming into the body, right, deep down into your stomach and then back out again. And just follow the breath. Follow the breath through the nose and then just notice how you feel in that 10 minutes. Now, a lot of you will probably go do this and feel very uncomfortable because you notice a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts. That's okay, don't resist it, don't get upset, tell yourself you shouldn't be thinking. Just bring your attention back to the breath and follow the breath. And every time you go back to thoughts, just keep coming back. as I said, some of you will get very annoyed and find a lot of discomfort because you'll be noticing that you're thinking a lot. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't judge yourself, but watch what happens when you do this day by day. Watch what happens to your experience and what you feel. Now, as I was saying before, I'm not sure if I shared this with you in the intro, but there are things you're going to be doing that you're going to feel like, why am I doing this? What's this got to do with remembering or getting unfucked, reclaiming my power? What's this got to do with it? It's kind of like a little bit like the Karate Kid, where he was made to go by his master to go do wax on and wax off, and he's like, why is my master getting me to go clean the car and do wax on and wax off? But then he's in the fight in the ring, and then all of a sudden, bang, he blocks a punch and protects himself. This is similar to what I'm getting. This is similar to why I'm getting you to do these practices. You may not understand them; they may not make sense in the moment, but you will then see how this impacts your experience and living of this work. So please commit to it. Because if you don't do this and start to have these experiences that are here to be had, you won't then just show up like that. Just like he did in the ring, he was able to it became automatic, right? He didn't have to think about it. It was just there. Now, that's why some of these things I'm going to give you are helping you remember what was always there. So 10 minutes of standing on the grass and simply breathing. That's all I want you to do. You don't have to meditate. It's not about saying a mantra or anything. Just want you to go and breathe, right? And be in the moment. Notice what you notice. If you're thinking, just come back to your breath, just for 10 minutes, all right? So with that, you may, as I said, find some resistance to it. Please commit to it. But it's part of the journey here in just getting back to yourself. You can't just hear this information and then go about your life and continue to be busy. Not take the moment to stop and be with yourself. And I mean really be with yourself. Like sometimes I ask people, did you take time to be with yourself? Did you go connect? Did you go and I'm not trying to make this really complicated, because there's all different ways which you can go connect and different things that people use. We can talk about meditation, all sorts of stuff. But simply stopping and being with yourself without putting in too much rules around it or guidance, but just connecting with your breath is really powerful. It doesn't have to be complicated. But a lot of people will tell themselves why they can't. Because they'll come up with reasons about how they're so busy, they've got so much on in their life, they don't have time. This is ridiculous. How am I going to find 10 minutes? What you are telling yourself is that you're not important when we do this. What you're telling yourself is that you don't have time for yourself. What you're telling yourself is that everything else that's going on in life is more important than who you're being. And then you wonder why you feel overwhelmed and stressed and disconnected. So again, this is not a lot. Just do this if you spend 12 days going through this program, it'll just be for 12 days. You can go back to not doing it if you like. But let's see how you feel if you do this every day for the next 12 days. Like I said, if you want to do this over 12 weeks, you're welcome. You don't have to do this in 12 days. You can do it in 12 weeks. You could do it in 12 months. You could take each part of this program and do it over the next 12 months in your life and ponder deeply on all the things you're starting to experience. It is up to you. Again, this is a remembering process. It's about uncovering what has actually always been there, what is there right now. And that is what I'm trying to connect with in staying in when I'm speaking to you in a more heart-centered space energetically, so that it's not my head trying to think as I talk about this. It's like I'm going to my head because I'm bringing my attention to my head. But it's to stay connected in my heart so that you start to feel and remember as well the energy of what it feels like when being yourself. That's what I'm hoping for here to start to connect you with as we go through these sections together. That's why I'm giving you examples of what it feels like when you are truly remembering who you are and being who you are. Hence those moments in time that seem like just moments in time, but you're really here just to have those moments in time, feeling and remembering who you are, but then forgetting and then going into a life of doing and surviving, fear, stress, overwhelm. And if your answer to that is no, hang on, I want to know how to be that, then you're in the right place. But the remembering process has got a lot to do with the practice I just gave you. Just start connecting, start becoming familiar with what it feels like to be present, to be with yourself. moment to moment. I'm going to give you some more things to support that process. I just want to keep this really simple and open up a little bit about what I mean by remembering like I've done. This is not something, as I've always said, I'm not someone that has something you don't have. So don't put power in me and think this guy's got something I don't have. I've gone on a journey to remember something that a lot of us don't go on, because in remembering it and then being it, it's almost opposite to everything that you thought was real and important. So that's why it's hard, because a lot of us have been conditioned to think there are things in the world and in the way of life that are more important than us being ourselves. So then hence why we feel like a slave to our circumstances, a slave to our stories. So I'm encouraging you to do something here that's going to support you to just coming back home to yourself and remembering who you are and have always been. So enjoy this part, take away what's landed. If you have questions and things that you're like, what the fuck did you just say? Excuse my language. Well, don't excuse my language. You're in a program that's called Get Unfucked, but hopefully you're okay with it. But if you have questions, feel free to get in touch with me, and to ask away. I'm always open, to answering questions. But you may find, if you want to do this, write questions as you go through these modules, but wait till you get to the end to see if some of them get answered for you. You may find that. So let's move on. We're going to move on to the embrace part, which is about feeling, sensing, and a little bit about energy in there. But don't forget your homework here. So every day, at least 10 minutes, barefoot if you can. There's a reason why I'm asking you to do barefoot. We'll talk about that later. But barefoot if you can, in the ground, whether it's in the sand at the beach, whether it's in a park, your backyard, wherever it is, and just 10 minutes. No distractions and just breathing, following the breath through the body. Very simple, very simple. Again, you may struggle, and that's okay. I know when I first started doing things like this, I noticed all this noise in my mind. I've even had people go and do similar stuff like this, and they go, Jamie, I don't know why you gave me that to do, because it's made my mind so noisy. I don't remember shit. All I'm noticing is the noise in my mind. You've made my mind noisier. And I go, no, I haven't. If anything, I'm now giving you an opportunity to notice how noisy your mind has been and what's actually been influencing you in your days, in your moments. So it's okay. Don't try and do something about it. Just keep bringing your attention back to your breath. When you notice your thinking, when you notice the thoughts are there, don't try and stop them, try and quiet them. Just bring your attention to your breath and just continue to follow the breath. All right? Lots of love. I will see you in the next section, which is all about embrace. Get ready.